Will I advocate that Unitarian Universalism join with the Quakers, the Church of the Brethren, and the Mennonites, and become a peace church? Yes. But I will also advocate that we understand that the path to pledging to nonviolence can be long and difficult. I will advocate patience and understanding as people struggle with this commitment. As a non-creedal peace church, Unitarian Universalism can become a home for people struggling to make this commitment, where they will not be judged for their current position on the matter. A home for further discussion about both the practical and the theoretical issues of war and peace. And a home for people to share their feelings and experiences openly in loving community. Next month, June 2010, delegates from congregations across the continent will assemble in Minneapolis to consider acceptance of a draft statement of conscience on creating peace. Now, last year, the peacemaking draft submitted for consideration was unexpectedly sent back for further revision. Largely, I believe, because others shared my concerns. In its current form, I like 99% of the draft, but I still cannot support its adoption, since this draft affirms the use of war for certain purposes. My personal conviction is that regardless of the purity of intent, war inevitably results in creating yet another generation of young people raised on the fruits of hate rather than love, and on the waters of retribution rather than justice. I applaud the work of those who work diligently drafting the various versions of this statement of conscience. I firmly believe that the conversation has benefited us as a denomination. In particular, I support its call for supporting intervention only when authorized by the United Nations. The UN remains an imperfect body, but stands unique in human history, as successful in some instances of building, making, and keeping peace within and among nations. My primary objection to the current statement regards its lack of vision of our eventual goal as a human society. The theological principles expressed in the statement are already those of a pacifist. Missing is the clear Unitarian Universalist vision of the future. A year ago, while I was serving my ministerial internship at the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Shelter Rock in New York, Bill Sinkford, then president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, visited. He was asked his opinion about how the Obama administration is changing the activities of Unitarian Universalists in Washington, D.C. Sinkford talked about how this new administration had already included us in more conversations than had been open to us in the previous 8 years. However, Sinkford also cautioned that President Obama will be forced to make compromises in order to make progress toward achieving his goals. President Obama's position lies here, whereas what we are used to lies here. And in between lies the area of political compromise. Sinkford stated that Unitarian Universalists must continue holding the vision of the beloved community, so that compromises, when they must occur, come closer to our desired social justice goals. Similarly, in order to open space in our statement of conscience on creating peace for those who feel as I do, I believe that pacifists must continue to hold up that vision of a nonviolent world with peace abroad and at home. I would like to see our statement include language such as this: Unitarian Universalists envision a future society free of violence and oppression, of unlimited justice and freedom, without which there can be no peace. Humankind took thousands of years to hone its knowledge and fashion its skills and behaviors as war makers. It will take time to fully claim our human legacy as creators of peace. We pray that someday all men and women will live with peace in their hearts and love for each other. The road to a future humanity living in peace and nonviolence lies before us, largely unpaved. This path presents many obstacles, unexpected turns, and perhaps many dead ends. But to paraphrase the famous Robert Frost poem, "The Road Not Taken," two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. Spirit of life and love that we know by many names, enter this space and join with us in an attitude of prayer and meditation. As we sit together in silent communion, all roads come together for the briefest of moments. We exchange glances of sight and spirit. Sometimes we leave and rejoin the same paths upon which we entered. But sometimes our time together opens new roads in our lives, or connects us with other travelers on similar journeys. Spirit of community, help us remember people in pain, people in crisis, and people in need of our compassion and help. Force of reason, help us in our struggle to refine the beliefs that guide our lives, especially when those beliefs require courage to stand up against societal norms. Power of love, plant your seed in us all so that it may take root in our hearts and minds and grow across the world. Let it be so. Go now in peace, not just the peace and serenity of inner calm, but the peace that will someday rule the world. May the Spirit of love surround you everywhere you go and on whatever road you travel.